Hi folks, Sean Shaughnessy here. Thank you for joining me again for another edition of our education series on real estate investing. Today we're going to talk about something that should be a tool that you should add to your real estate investing toolbox. I use it for creative real estate financing. It is called a contract for deed. In some states it's also called a land contract. But what is a contract for deed? Well, first of all, in order to use a contract for deed, you need to have the right seller in place. And the right seller is going to be somebody that perhaps owns the property outright, does not have a need for cash right at the get-go, somebody that is willing to listen to other alternatives to just simply having a clean sale where 100% cash is exchanged for the property. So it is an alternative fashion to buying a property. It is very much like buying a car. You are making installment purchase payments in order to purchase the property. And there are two parts to a contract for deed. The first part would be the equitable title. And this is the part of the title that you have in the property. And with an equitable title, you are going to have all of the responsibilities that go along with owning the property, with one caveat: you don't own the property. So taxes, insurance, upkeep, maintenance, the whole 9 yards, those are going to be on your side of the field, but you are not actually going to be the person that is going to own the property. The legal title is going to remain with the seller until such time as you fulfill your commitment under the contract for deed. The contract is basically the note. It is the deed for trust, for lack of a better word. It's going to be the mortgage. It's going to, whatever way you want to put it, the note, if that's what you want to call it. That is what is going to dictate when you receive legal title to the property. Okay, so when you have legal title and equitable title, you now are in a position to where you can go to the courthouse and have that house titled completely and fully in your name. Now, a couple of things that concern people that are considering being on the other end of a contract for deed is, well, what happens if somebody, I go ahead and I write a contract for deed, and this person goes and gets a home equity loan and pulls all the equity out of my house? Well, there are only a very few states, to the best of my knowledge. Remember, I'm not an attorney, so you want to check anything that I say with somebody that's a qualified professional. But I don't know of any states that allow someone to actually pull equity out of a house that is under contract for deed if they only have equitable title. You have to have legal title in order to pull equity out of a house. So that's one thing that obviously you can rest comfortably about, but make sure that you check the regulations in your state so that you don't end up getting burned. As far as default, well, if you default on the note, it's the same thing as defaulting on the note on a car. You repossess the property. It's really that simple. Now, those of us that have been in real estate investing for quite some time, we know that getting tenants out of a property is not necessarily the easiest thing in the world to do, and I empathize with you on that particular point. But remember, we are in a business where we have to assume risk. So it's up to us as the property owners that are selling properties contract for deed to assess as to whether or not this is, a good risk. We more than likely are going to be selling contract for deed for one of two reasons. One, this is a retail buyer that does not have the credit to buy a house without creative financing, so you're using it in this fashion. Or two, it's a real estate investor like you and I, and we're already kind of got enough loans as it is. We want to buy this piece of property, but yet we'd like to go ahead and we'd like to find a better way of buying it aside from cash or a traditional type of hard money or private money loan. So with that being said, let's just review. Contract for deed is also called a land contract in some states. You have an equitable title that's on the buyer side. You have a legal title on the seller side. You have that deed of trust or that note or that installment contract. That is the contract for the deed. And you cannot get any equity out of the house if you only have the equitable title in most places. So you're covered there. And if someone defaults on the contract for deed, you've got to get them out the way you normally would with most tenants. So that is what I have to say about that. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call or send me an email. I'd be happy to answer them for you. And I do appreciate you taking the time to visit with me, and hope to see you again on another video. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.